Hey guys, Fight Mike here, back with another video. We're just going to be going to do some matchmaking for the UFC 316 card that happened yesterday. I'm going to be matching up only the fights on the main card, showing where their next fight should be, when they should be, and who their opponent should be next. Let's jump in with the main event winner. I want Marab to be fighting Corey Sandhagen on the UFC October pay-per-view. I believe it's probably going to be Ankalaev versus Pereira made for that one as the main event. I don't think that this should main event over it, but he should definitely try and get this fight in before the end of the year to sort of give his contenders a chance to actually fight each other and establish a number one contender. But this one can happen in October, it can happen in November or December. Like, it doesn't really matter what pay per view that you throw this on, but I think it should happen this year. I heard that Marab wanted to have a holiday for a couple of weeks. And this pay-per-view is 4 months away, so he can have a quick holiday and then jump straight back into training camp to fight the Corey Sandhagen. I think this will be a very fun fight, and it's a good fight for Abu Dhabi to have as a co-main. Moving on to the next fight, we've got Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan. I want it to be on a December pay-per-view as a co-main event for 5 rounds. This was obviously a rematch from their first fight, which was very close. A lot of people had Petr Yan winning this one. I think Petr Yan will beat Marcus McGee in July. I think that would give him enough time to come back by December. I assume that Sean O'Malley wants to take some time off after that loss yesterday. So it's probably pretty good timing to have these two guys go up against each other. I've seen a lot of people matching Sean O'Malley up with Song Yadong, but that could be just a bit too much time to wait for Song Yadong. And I think that O'Malley wants to be in the title picture. I've also seen people who are matching him up with featherweights. But the thing is that apart from the top two featherweights, there's no one hyped enough for Sean O'Malley to want to go up and fight. So, and there are, a lot of them are quite difficult matchups. The only one I could see being a good matchup would be like a Yair Rodriguez fight. And even then, I don't think Yair is taking another guy that's not in the featherweight rankings. I think he wants a fight that will guarantee get him a title shot next. So this is a pretty good fight. And I think if Yan beats Marcus McGee, the UFC are going to use that as like a bargaining chip to why he shouldn't get a title shot and why they would give it to Umar Magomedov first. So like, I think that this is probably something that they would look into doing, and I think everyone would be pretty happy with this fight. I don't know if Jan should get a title shot after being Marcus McGee, but if he beats Sean O'Malley in a rematch, he should definitely deserve a title shot. So it would be a justifiable title fight if he wins against O'Malley in a 5-rounder. And this would be a great fight to throw on, like if Ilia Topuria beats Charles Oliveira. This would be a good fight to throw on there as like a co-main event. Bring a lot of hype into the card. Everyone would be excited for it. So I think that they should remake this fight. And it was so fun the first time. We got to see it over 5. Moving on. Before I move on, the one thing I do see being an issue with this fight actually being made is that I can't see Sean O'Malley taking 5-rounders unless they're for the belt. So maybe the UFC pay him a decent amount more to do this one, or he just does it. I think he should get some more 5-round experience, and a fight with Jan would be a good one. So he might take this. Maybe not, though. We'll see. Moving on, though, we've got Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunez. I'm sure that everyone knows that this is going to be the fight that happens next. I would like it to happen before the end of the year. That would be really good. And this could be November or December. I don't really mind what pay-per-view it's on, but I wouldn't mind if they did another triple title fight card. And that would be a good one for November. I doubt that they'll get John Jones, Tom Aspinall on there. So they'll probably get like a JDM versus Islam on there. Maybe like a... Maybe even like the not O'Malley, maybe even the Marab versus Sandhagen fight could be on the card. And then you throw, or Pantoja if he beats Kai Kara France, that could be thrown on the card. And then just have this as a good feature fight. It would make a really exciting card. If this is a co-main event to a pay-per-view, I don't know how excited people are going to be for that. Like, I think this would be the same level of excitement as a good 5-round co-main. But if you throw it on a good pay-per-view for November, make it like a star-studded pay-per-view, and make this the feature fight, people will be much more excited for this. Imagine we've got a good, like, fourth fight up, and then you've got Amanda Nunez to look forward to in the next fight. So I think this would be an amazing feature fight of a pay-per-view. They won't do it like that. I could see them doing a standalone pay-per-view with this, which no one wants, and I could also see them doing this as a co-main, which granted isn't that bad, but if they want to appease the fans, put this as a feature fight of a pay-per-view. Especially the November Madison Square Garden pay-per-view would be great. Moving on to the co-main event loser, we've got Juliana Pena. I want her to fight Ketlin Vieira, who fought a week or so ago, and put her in the Apex Prelims co-main event. We won't have enjoyment out of this fight, so there's no point in putting it on a main event, and we may as well get these two that are basically fighting on the exact same timetable to fight against each other. I didn't put a time or date for this one because I don't really care when this is. I would say put it just before the end of the year, but not too soon to where it actually matches Vieira on the set. Actually, maybe not put it on the end of the year. Maybe put it in February next year. Just because I don't want it to be like a set in stone. Whoever wins this fights Amanda Nunez or Kayla Harrison for the belt after the winner of that. Like, I don't want this to be a title fight eliminator. I want Dana to be able to use this and say no to them to why they shouldn't get the fight, or just to match it schedule wise to not fit in with the title, because we don't want. I wouldn't hate Ketlin Vieira getting a title fight after this, but I don't want to see Juliana Pena win her next fight and get a title fight, which they could do if they put this fight in November. So put this in January or February, and I'll be happy with this. And make it the co-main event of the prelims in the Apex, because we know it's not going to be a fun fight between these two. Moving on, though, we've got Joe Pyfer versus Abus Magomedov. I was about to say no Magomedov, but Magomedov. This is a good fight. I think a lot of people won't match Pyfer up with someone who's in the rankings, but there's not that many matchups outside the rankings that are actually a step up for Pyer that he can still win. I know that they want Pyer to do well because he will be a good prospect from America, and he will probably bring some of the pay-per-view audience to the UFC. But I would really like to see this fight. I think this would be a great fight. The round one would be insane for this, and it's a nice test for Pyer to see if he can deal with that, like the one rounder submission artists like Abus Magomedov. And to be honest, I think we need to give him a step up, but not someone amazing, because we've seen in his last fight against Kelvin yesterday that he wasn't picking his shots amazingly. He was doing a lot of overthrowing and looking for the knockout. I think it's a good way to match him up, to give him someone who's still going to be difficult, that he can find his knockout for, but not someone who's really good. And I think giving him someone in the rankings that's a step up is a good idea, because then once he beats an Abus Magomedov, we could match him up with someone who's ranked like a 10 spot, maybe like a Roman Dolidze or something like that, and we can just get a nice career progression for him. I don't want him to fight another unranked guy, because I don't think we're going to see that much difference from this fight to the unranked opponent we see, because he'll probably sleep them in a minute. So I want him to give him someone difficult, someone hard, someone who will push the pace, and someone who will make it a difficult fight. I know that Abus has the cardio of a 7-year-old, but this would still be fun. He won't get chinned straight away by Pyer, and we can see a good round one, maybe where Pyer gets put in some bad positions and we get to see him work out of it. But I think that this is a good fight, and I don't want him fighting unranked people at all. He's going to sleep them brutally, so give him a boost Magomedov and then give him someone difficult like Roman Dolidze after. Moving on to Kelvin Gastelum versus Nuzultan Ruziboev. I think that this would be a good Apex feature fight. You can also throw this on the prelims of the Abu Dhabi card. That'll be in October. I don't really want to give Gastelum anyone who's like a name in the division or like established in the division. I want him to fight someone who's really difficult and who will beat him. He's been given a lot of like opponents that he shouldn't. Like, he got given Pyer for this one, even though Pyfer's an up and coming guy and someone to make a name off Gastelum. He's still a known fighter. I want Gastelum to be fighting an absolute nobody on the Apex cards, just because he's not winning against any of these guys. He's not beating anyone really good. So why are we rewarding him with these matchups that he looks good if he wins? Give him Nuzultan Ruziboev, who is granted really good in the UFC. He's only got a draw against Oleski's Zaleski dos Santos and a loss against Joaquin Buckley, who is on the absolute top of the division. So let's reward him with a shot at someone who will get him in the rankings. And not just keep giving Gastelum like the Daniel Rodriguez type fights, the fights of people with names, the winnable fights. Like, we shouldn't give him that. We should give him someone who strictly will beat him and will make a name off him. Because what has Gastelum done for the UFC? Like, he's put on some really good performances, obviously, but he's also been given a lot by the UFC. He's missed weight a bunch. He's put on some lackluster performances. He lost to guys he shouldn't have lost to. So let's give him one of these dangerous up-and-coming guys like Nizoltan Ruzaboev. And honestly, I think he probably beats Ruzaboev. So this is a good matchup. Feature fight of an Apex card. No one would be really hyped for this unless you're a real hardcore fan. I think this would be fun. Throw it on the feature fight of an Apex Apex Fight Night and let Gastelum pay his dues. Moving on, though, we've got Mario Bautista versus Marlon Vera. This is just a rebooking. I'm not going to chat about this much. I don't think the patchy mix of wins shows too much about Bautista. And Marlon Vera is still a guy that's ranked above him, will bring him to that upper echelon of the bantamweight division. And I actually think this should be a 5-rounder. I think it would be nice to see how he deals with someone who downloads information like Vera. I don't have any interest in this in the 3-round. I think he would be able to outpoint Vera over 3 rounds and then slowly get pieced up at the end of the third. If you give Vera 5 rounds against Bautista, it's probably going to be a much better fight. I think Bautista would probably win the first 2 due to like extreme activity. He might save his cardio a bit better than he did in the last fight versus Mix, but even then he looked fantastic in the third. But giving him Marlon Vera in a 5-rounder, we get to really see what his minerals look like in that 5th round. We get to see, is he still effective? Is he still that active? Or is Marlon Vera able to hurt him in that 5th? Which we can definitely see. He did look a little bit more tired than Patchy in that 3rd round. He did throw 173 significant strikes, or land 173. So it makes sense why he's pretty tired. But I think it would be good to get him against someone who's a grizzled vet, who's good over 5 rounds, and we all respect Marlon Vera. So let's get him against him in November. Let both of them recover. They should be on the same time frame. Marlon Vera pulled out to this fight due to a broken rib. I'm sure that Bautista has some sort of injury, so perfect timing to put this fight on. And I hope to see it as an Apex main event. I would actually like to see this as an Apex main. Moving on, though, we've got Ayman Zahabi versus Patchy Mix. In the Canada, I think it's like a Vancouver fight night that they've got in October. This would be a good time to fight. I know that Mix took a lot of damage in this fight, but he does not have time to just sit on the sidelines. And the UFC don't have the money to just give him someone who's unranked. I think this is a fight where it's you win or you get cut for Patchy Mix. His last performance was so bad. His striking looked atrocious. So we should see him up against the only one of 2 37-year-old prospects, Ayman Zahabi. This would be a good fight. I think Ayman will know not to shoot takedowns on him. I think he'll have head movement in this fight, and he will be able to hit a punching bag. So Patchy Mix is going to find this one a bit difficult. I think Ayman Zahabi's got good takedown defense as well. Sorry. I sound a little bit sick right now. Apologies all, but Patchy would be someone that you can't. He's been. Sorry, I'm messing up my words now. But he's someone who's come from Bellator as a Bellator champion with a bunch of defenses there. So we can't give him some random unranked guy. Like, we're not giving him even a Cody Garbrandt matchup. I don't want to see, because I want to see him put it up against these top 15 level guys. And I bet he's getting paid a decent amount. So give him these top 15 level guys one more time and then cut him if he loses. I don't think he's going to be like a top 5 guy ever. So let's test him this one last time against Ayman Zahabi. If Zahabi wins, I know that he fought Jose Aldo in his last fight. If Zahabi can win, give him a top 7 ranked matchup and use that as like a selling point to him. Maybe even a top 5 matchup. Maybe give him a Son Yadong or something, or someone out of that top 5 coming off a loss. Promise him that matchup and give him Patchy Mix, because I think he probably beats Patchy Mix, but this is the only opponent Mix has some sort of advantage over. Because after seeing his last fight, we know he doesn't have the fight IQ. We know he doesn't have the takedown ability. We know he doesn't have the scrappiness or the hands. So let's put him in a sink or swim type matchup. Moving on though, we've got Kevin Holland versus Rinat Fakrinov. If you're a real fan of the channel, you'll know on my first ever video I was doing matchmaking the welterweight division, and I put the winner of Vicente Luque or Kevin Holland to versus Rinat, just because I don't think that Holland deserved his shot in the rankings. He beat Gunnar Nelson, who hadn't won for 2 years, and never steps foot in the octagon. And he's only had a draw against, I want to say, Zaleski dos Santos, which actually makes me remember that I got completely wrong on my Nazoltan Ruzaboev draw. And Ruzaboev didn't have a draw against him. That was Rinat. They look somewhat similar. Don't come at me in the comments calling me a casual, but this one will be a matchup that Holland will take. I know he called out Colby Covington, but he's not getting that fight. Colby's not taking it, and I think that he needs to defend his rankings in the top 15, not just get like a Jeff Neal rematch, or if Joaquin Buckley loses, get a Joaquin Buckley rematch. Like, I think he needs to take on one of these up-and-comers, and Rinat deserves a shot in the rankings. Holland will probably take that fight, put him on the October pay-per-view opener of the main card, and to be honest, he has a chance of beating Rinat, so I hope he can take this fight. I hope the UFC try to make this fight, because I really just don't believe he deserves to be fighting like a number 10 ranked guy when he's got a loss to Michael Venom Page at UFC 299 last year, who's ranked one spot above him, or one spot below, or he should be ranked one spot above or below him. So Kevin Holland shouldn't get a jump up the rankings, make him defend his spot against Rinat, and that would be a decent fight. Put him on the October pay-per-view main card. Now, moving on to, I think this is the last fight I have matched up. Vicente Luque versus Mike Mallet. I would prefer Luque to fight retirement right now, see what else he's got in store for him. I don't know if he's going to come back better. Like, he's been looking slower in his last few fights compared to his first few. So, we got to give him someone who's like making a name for himself in the rankings. I know he fought Themba Gorimbo, but Themba wasn't that good of a prospect, and he was faced to fight Nick Diaz first. So they've been attempting to put him against these guys who are winnable matchups and like known names. So we may as well give him Mike Mallet, who's also a known name, but he's not as well known, and he can make a name off himself from Vicente Luque. And they're having a fight. I've also matched this one up for the Canada fight night in October as like a feature fight, maybe co-main if they make the Ayman Zahabi fight as a main event. I think that this would be a pretty fun fight. I think this is natural career progression for Mike Mallet, someone just outside the rankings who was just in the rankings and his rankings level sort of. So it would be a nice like entrance to like a shot at the rankings for Mike Mallet. And to be honest, Luque has a chance at winning this fight. Mallet shoots a lot of takedowns, and he might get caught in one of those front choke sort of chokes. So maybe like a ninja choke or an anaconda or Das. But I would prefer Luque to fight retirement right now. But if he has to fight, I would prefer it to be Mike Mallet. And this is a decent fight. I think it's good career progression for Mallet. That was all of my matchmaking after the UFC 316 card. Let me know what you think of that in the comments section below. Like and subscribe and leave a comment. And let me know what you want for the rest of the week for the videos. And as always, I hope you all stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.